The Odyssey. A la Shmoop. My name is Odysseus, and this is the story of a decade-long journey that would never have happened had I kept my big fat mouth shut. It all started when I was sailing back to Ithaca after the Trojan War ended. 10 years I spent fighting the Trojans, and all I wanted to do was get back to my wife, Penelope. However, my men and I were captured by a cyclops. Dude had only one eye, so once we put that out, it was pretty easy to get away from him. But then I did something really stupid. I told him my name.
Did you hear me? My name is Odysseus.
Yelled it at him, actually, in a kind of taunting way as I sailed away on my ship. Did I mention that this was not a smart thing to do? Turns out that the Cyclops' dad was Poseidon. He complained about my blinding him to his pops, and Poseidon promptly cursed me to wander about on my ship for 10 years. Oops. A decade sailing around the ocean is a long time, but boy did we meet some interesting people on our trip. First, there was Aeolus, who was kind enough to give me a giant whoopee cushion that could have blown me back to Ithaca. Unfortunately, my idiot crew members sat on the thing while I slept. Then we met some cannibals. Yeah, that didn't end well. Then we met Circe, nice girl, but we got off on the wrong foot when she turned half of my men into pigs. Hermes, the god, not the luxury brand, Hermes, if you're French I guess it's Hermès, gave me a drug that helped me resist Circe's wiles. She ultimately agreed to turn my crew members back into men if I would love her. Sounded like a deal to me, but please don't tell Penelope. After a year spent chilling with my Circe, my men and I sailed to the edge of the world, where I talked to lots of dead people. And what did my dead mom tell me but that my house at Ithaca had been overrun by men who were eating my food, spending my money, and trying to marry my wife. Time to get home, you say?
Have you been eating well? Are you wearing a jacket?
I couldn't have agreed more. Problem was, I couldn't get home. First there were the sirens, and then the Scylla took a bite out of my crew. And then there was a shipwreck, and everyone died but me. And then I washed up on Calypso's island, and she compelled me to be her boyfriend. Again, please don't tell Penelope. After 7 years with Calypso, the gods finally orchestrated my escape. Of course, Poseidon, the big jerk, was still mad at me for what I did to his one-eyed son. A little help from a sea nymph got me to the island of the Phaeacians, where I revealed that I was the Trojan horse guy. The Phaeacians then took me home to Ithaca. Thanks to my dead mom, I knew I had dozens of sleazy suitors camped out at my house. The goddess Athena disguised me as a beggar so I could get the lay of the land. Then, while staying in my swineherd's hut, who should I meet but my son, Telemachus? We shared a manly hug, then decided that the suitors had to go. The next day, my wife had the suitors compete for her hand in an archery competition with my old bow. The man who could string the bow and shoot an arrow through a dozen axe heads would win the competition and my wife. Of course, I took home the gold. Then my son and I, with an able assist from the household staff, killed all the suitors and a few other people besides. It was like a Die Hard movie. I revealed myself to my wife, but she didn't believe I was me until I told her that our bed was made out of an olive tree with its roots still in the ground. That's how my Odyssey came to an end. Thanks for making me jump through all those hoops, Homer. It was epic.
So,